inside the joint really is way before we get a whiff of it, isn't it?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And unfortunately, even when we see changes on an X-ray, it's lagging way behind what's actually going on. And unfortunately, I think in young dogs, many times the very subtle symptoms get missed. They get blown off as growing pains, or a puppy being a puppy and they just did something to themselves. And a lot of times young dogs, meaning 7, 10, 11-month-old dogs with bad elbows, aren't really going to always be lame. And sometimes people miss the very subtle stiffness when they get up and warm out of it, or some of the stiffness when they get done with heavy play. And I try to tell people, well, your 7-month-old puppy shouldn't look like an 80-year-old man getting up in the morning. That's not normal. Stiffness is not normal. And so, these dogs don't come in lame. And that's why I think it is important, at least on the veterinarian side of things, that we really push the profession to early recognition. So, there needs to be a collaborative approach, and educating pet owners as to what's normal and not normal in a puppy, but also on our end, when we're seeing these dogs for puppy visits, for vaccines, for wellness exams, that we do things to make sure there's not any problems going on. And there's actually metrics or tools we can use now to identify early onset OA. So we can actually identify dogs that don't have OA, but they are in a risk factor to develop OA. Mm-hmm. And I think if we can start doing that in all of these young dogs, we can then start screening out the dogs that may have an issue going on that aren't showing signs yet, but man, we can intervene and do something to start them on that process of management now, and hopefully have a better outcome later down the road, or make it such that when the dog's 7 or 8 or 9, it's a little bit easier to manage from the OA perspective, because maybe there's less development, or it's not as severe, because all these years we've been doing all the right things to try to preserve the comfort of the joint.
Yeah, and I think that's something that we say quite a lot. And I've had firsthand experience of being in a consult room with a young dog, juvenile, and that owner is not expecting me to say that their dog's broken, because it's like getting a brand new toy. It's brand new. It can't be broken. Mm-hmm. It's straight out of the box. So There is definitely a pushback from owners, because no one wants to hear that news, but it's a reality check. And as you say, it's trying to pick up on the signs early, and that's really, really difficult, because they can be very, very subtle. So it is a very difficult disease. It's all going on here, guys. Someone's knocking at the door. There's 2 dogs with separation anxiety outside, and there's this one on my lap. So I'm having a little bit of a tough time concentrating. So I do apologize. I'm just going to let the door knock. Okay, they'll come in or they won't come in. A really good thing to actually tackle now, having talked about it being a juvenile problem, is this question: does exercising a puppy affect growth plate closure? This is such a hot topic, and I would love to hear your thoughts on it. Growth plate closure is not OA, but if it leads to angular limb abnormalities, then it can lead to OA. So there is a connection there, but what's your thoughts?
Well, I'm going to give you a general answer to the question, and the answer is no. But I'm going to expand on this. So we don't have any definitive evidence that exercising dogs is going to lead to arthritic formation, that's going to lead to early growth plate closure. We don't have any evidence to support that theory. With that being said, I don't think it's appropriate to take a skeletally immature dog and push excessive exercise on them. Meaning, if they want to go outside and run around and be a puppy and have a good time, and you want to start going on just some leash walks to teach the dog how to walk on a leash appropriately, letting them control the pace and the duration, that's perfectly fine. If you've got your new puppy that is going to become a running buddy and you want to go out on a 7-mile run, I would probably consider that to be excessive.